Hello! Today I'm showing you how I made a blender. It was a fiddly project because I decided to do it entirely from polymer clay, and I used liquid fimo clay to make the glass plastic jar. I don't really know how it's called in English, I haven't checked again. Here I'm just making the base where the motor is. So I just pre-baked the raspberry orchid colored top and then added some black. For the actual glass panels, I made a prototype of, I decided to make a square glass jar. So I have 4 panels. And as you see, I'm just preparing the prototype and then I'm baking it, and after that I'm making a mold from scrap clay, aluminium foil, and just pushing the prototype in, and then adding some liquid clay, removing the bubbles, and then baking. I then just remove it from the foil and cut out any excess. After that, I made the top of the blender and put the glass panels into place. It's quite difficult as fimo liquid is very flexible once cured, so it's not an easy project at all. And it probably would be best with resin, although I don't have any resin at home, so that was not an option for me. And I wanted to do it yesterday, and so I didn't want to order resin and wait to make the blender, and so I used liquid clay. And since it was so fiddly, I also added this black tiny square on top of it to hold the panels in place. Unfortunately, my camera decided to stop recording, so I don't have that footage, but just so you know, you need to sandwich the panel between 2 squares, otherwise they are not going to stay in place. And then I just proceeded to finish the blender, adding some more details. I also made a blade from the aluminum from a tea light holder cup. It's just very thin. It's actually smaller than that in the end, but I didn't record it again, so a very small piece of metal, and then you just fold the ends up. Maybe it's easier to check the picture of a real blade or check your own blender if you have a blender at home. Otherwise, Google will be very helpful. And then I just I bake a lot of times, so I just baked it again before adding the buttons. As you can see, it's a bit wobbly and it's not perfect, but that's because I took the whole day yesterday to try to find a suitable technique with what I had on my hands, and so I didn't have the nerves to redo it, so that explains it. So I suppose if you put a little bit more patience in it, you can have a rather neat blender, a more regular one, although it's not going to be perfectly transparent, so keep that in mind. If you want a transparent top, you can either maybe find to use some kind of plastic cap, a very small plastic cap, and use that instead, but don't bake it, obviously, or then use resin, and I don't have any tips to give on resin since I never use it. Here I just made the tiny blender cap, And lastly, I made the electrical cord. I used some wire and some thread, some black thread, and just sandwiched it between clay and then baked. And after that I glued the thread to the blender, and yeah, that's about it. Sorry I'm not my cheery self today, but my cat is in very bad shape. So anyway, sorry for the end, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!